Batman vs. Superman is the work of visionary director.
One monster. One history's greatest monster.
I don't know about that. Zack Snyder. And
Known
I think,
criminal, Zachary Snyder.
like him or not, he's got a very identifiable style, which I think
You want to see his style?
Yeah. It's too bright in here to see his style. But anyway, when you look at something like a Tim Burton movie and you're like, those are his trees. Like, those are his colors. That's his Helena Bonham Carter. She's in every one of his films. Hey, look, it's another Johnny Depp. And Helena Bonham Carter.
With music by Danny Elfman.
Yep. That's a Tim Burton movie, right? You just get it. Zack Snyder, kind of similar deal. You know what you're getting when you look at it. I think there's some of his more successful movies are the ones that kind of move away from that a little bit. You look at something like Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, which was his first movie.
Yeah.
Up until that point, he'd done, I think, some music videos. He'd done a Subaru commercial, which you can actually see in the background. It's on one of the TVs.
Yep.
Subaru driving by. Little fun fact for you. Fun fact about Dawn of the Dead. It is a script by James Gunn, who's now directing Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
It's also by far Zack Snyder's funniest movie. It's incredibly self-aware. It's tongue-in-cheek. It's taking this, pretty weird, late '70s zombie classic and amping it up a bit with modern cinematography. And
I actually never put that together. It is a genuinely funny movie at times, despite the fact that it's about the end of the world and people dying. And there's a woman in that movie that gives birth to a actual zombie baby, which is horrible.
Yeah.
So that just kind of shows that you can walk that line of like grim dark and also have a little bit of heart and fun and seriousness. I don't think that fun just means goofy and campy. I think it also can mean just energy and tone, right?
And then, what was it? After that, he did 300, which was his first big comic book hit. This was hot on the tails of Sin City. This was based on a Frank Miller comic, which I always thought was interesting about this movie is that the comic of 300 is like 70 pages long, if that. It is incredibly short. And Zack Snyder did like shot for shot, managed to nail the look and feel of that comic. But everything that wasn't in the comic was like pretty lame. Like if you go back and do that kind of comparison side by side, all the filler that he had to pack in there, it's very so-so. It wasn't so hot. After that was a hit. He did Sucker Punch.
Yep.
That was his movie. He wrote that and he directed that. That's not a good movie.
No, it's not.
It's a very, very bad movie. That'd be an awesome music video. That would be a really cool video game.
Totally. And it's got some great ideas.
Yeah.
It's got some gorgeous women in it. It's got some
sick wall scroll.
Yeah, sick wall scroll. It's got some horrifying things that happen to everybody involved in that movie. But it's entirely original. It's not based on any source material that we're any of us are really married to, such as Batman and Superman. But it didn't really work.
And then following that, he did Watchmen.
Yep.
A lot of people like this. I hate it. I think go read Watchmen more, like pay more attention to the details. I think that it's a movie very much about how superheroes are people, and he made a movie about how superheroes are superheroes.
Yeah.
He kind of missed the nuances. He tried to match all of the visual aesthetics, and Watchmen is almost intentionally, because of Dave Gibbons' style, very, very clinical. It's kind of cold. It's taking the most recognizable, this is a comic book aesthetic, and making it so that you're kind of like, okay, this is familiar, but the things that people are saying, not so familiar. He didn't really do that with the movie. He just kind of matched the action.
That's it. I will say, I thought Watchmen had some great casting decisions. I thought it was incredibly gorgeous. I thought that
that opening montage is the
opening
best part
montage is amazing. I thought that like the prison sequence was really fun, and like it had humor to it too. Again, with carrying a ton of dark tones. A lot of people say it's the best way you could have made that movie. I think in many ways it's kind of ahead of its time. Not my favorite comic book movie. I appreciate that it exists, and I think that like that was something that was kind of a good fit for Zack Snyder in a lot of ways.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, he did. I think that. Yeah, I don't know. That's up in the air. And then what was it? Following that, he did Man of Steel.
Yeah,
which seemed to rub everybody the wrong way. Some people like it. I actually enjoyed it because I don't really like Superman. And it was like up until now, all of the Superman movies have basically been like, here's a guy in spandex who faces off against, like a bald man who owns businesses.
Yeah.
And you're like, maybe use special effects to do something cool. And basically, the last half of that movie is a big budget CG Dragon Ball Z, and I was kind of into that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I actually thought the last third of that movie was sort of where it started to lose me, because the first 2/3 of it were incredibly human, especially for Zack Snyder and especially for Superman. I think a lot of people don't really get into that side of Superman, of like the orphan side of it and his family and just being, sort of like an immigrant in a home he shouldn't be in. But there was some good stuff there. I think most people walked out of that movie being like, I don't know about this one.
Yeah, they kind of tried to basically Christopher Nolan Superman by giving it to Zack Snyder. I don't think that works so much. I think that Zack Snyder likes to do dark stuff, and I think Superman doesn't really work as a dark character so much. If I had to give him one property that I think he could really knock out of the park, Frank Miller's Ronin. I don't know if you've read that, but that's a movie about, it's basically samurai Mad Max in post-apocalyptic New York. Really crazy, visually fascinating. He could kill it.
So what's our moral of the story here? I think that he works best with stuff that isn't exactly near and dear to us. I think he does really good cover songs. I think he makes amazing trailers. I think that like you said, the music video thing is perfect. I would love to see him do a series of short films on Netflix or something like that. I think 2 hours and 45 minutes is just a little too much to be
cap him at 2 hours and see what he does.
So what's next for him? I mean, what besides?
He's executive producing the rest of the DC cinematic universe.
He wants to do a bunch of historical movies that basically give him the 300 treatment.
Let's see how Suicide Squad is, because I feel like if Suicide Squad knocks it out the park and it manages to be self-aware and funny and remotely fun, then that's going to kind of twist things for the rest of these movies, and maybe people will take a hint, because those big fat cats up at the Hollywood Towers with their money and their big suits, they do read the comments, and the comments are called reviews.
Now,
back to you, Susan.